rumble of the discourse. We've taken an abandoned concrete factory at the margins of the declining American empire and repurposed it into a battleground where 19 separate entities from across the political spectrum enter the discourse one by one and do battle to determine who controls the narrative force of the discourse. I hope you'll join me, your Southern Gothic futurist host Dirk God Raven Mac, for each and every episode of Monday Night Rumble of the Discourse. Hey everybody, it's your boy Dirk God Raven Mac. Welcome back to Monday Night Rumble of the Discourse, our winter 2026 7-week series. Of course, we are in week 4 right now as 27 competitors across the political spectrum, some of them even outside that spectrum, who are in the discourse, in the news. 2 of them begin at the opening bell. 1 comes out every minute after that, get eliminated by being tossed or pinned or submitted. And it's a meritocracy, folks. No algorithm controlling this thing. Like, they get a point for eliminating somebody, and you get bonus points for being those final 4. Of course, this is a 7-week series. Competitors are accumulating points the first 6 weeks to come back in that week 7 season finale. They'll come out in reverse order by how many points they got. We've had 3 weeks already. I'll touch on who's won those previous 3 weeks when we get to your results. But first, I want to give a shout out to Catbird, our primary sponsor, Catbird Enterprises. Catbird is, of course, here tonight. And tonight I asked, what's the word, Catbird? And he said, what's the flavor, neighbor? And I guess because of Minnesota being in the news, I was in a Midwestern state of mind, had casseroles on the brain, and I made a very bland but comforting tuna casserole yesterday, and I made way too much. It's just me at the house. But I brought my leftovers up here, of course, to have as we were prepping for the event tonight. And Catbird saw it, and he could smell it because I had heated it up. And he said, what's the flavor, neighbor? We love Catbird. Catbird's great. Secondary sponsor could be you, just because Catbird is generous enough to support Monday Night Rumble of the Discourse doesn't mean you can't sponsor it too. Of course, it's cold as hell here where I live. Heating bill's going to be high. I haven't even paid last time I ordered oil, and I don't know how much oil is left out there in the tank. Almost dread going to look, but hit me up, man. I can always use the support, but I also recognize that things are falling apart for everybody, so I don't take that lightly. If you're struggling, don't kick it to me. Although, isn't it weird how usually when it comes to that mutual aid stuff, those who are struggling are the ones who help each other? Strange situation we be living in right now. Here's our standings after 3 events. Excuse me. In first place right now is 19 points, that Mar-a-Lago guest who won week 1. Second place, Marco Rubio, who won week 2. Third place is the Free Thinker, who won last week. You can see Donald Trump and Zohran Mamdani are just behind him with 9 points. Luigi, that New York Times op-ed writer, Blue Sky Commie, a bunch of other people there you can see all on our leaderboard. But for now, let's go ahead and head on up to the ring. And our referees in there tonight are Clarence Thomas and Jamel Bowie. Jamel Bowie was a ref last week. I think Clarence Thomas was 2 weeks ago. But they're going to be our refs again tonight. And coming out first, here he is, Gregory Bovino, that little mighty might of oppression. Of course, he's been defending another murder of a citizen, as if shooting the one woman in the face wasn't bad enough. They went ahead and shot another guy in the back. So 3 shots last time, sounded like 10 this time. Pretty bad. And here comes Hakeem Jeffries. And of course, Congress, the House of Representatives just passed that budget right before they killed another citizen the other day. And Hakeem Jeffries did not use his power of minority leader to try to whip any opposition to that. And they, of course, just went ahead and signed off on further funding. So now that's sitting in the Senate's House, which luckily a lot of senators seem to be standing against continuing that funding. Thank goodness. They should have done that last time. It shouldn't have gotten to this before. I don't know, man. At some point, somebody's got to stand up to open fascism, but it doesn't seem like we have an actual opposition party in America beyond just performative. But Gregory Bovino, the little Nazi, and Hakeem Jeffries, the minority leader of the House of Representatives, are in there right now. You can see there's a ladder in the ring. We have 7 ladders scattered around the ring. Those represent the meritocracy myth of American society. And there are also a bunch of briefcases outside the ring as well, and that is Super PAC money. You will see some of these folks grab those briefcases from time to time. And we get a buzzer coming out to join these two. Well, speak of the devil, those congressmen, the 7 Democratic Congress people who helped fund DHS and ICE and all that. Marie Gluesenkamp Perez from Washington, she was one of them. Of course, there's a whole thing going on right now with people with Hispanic heritages who are sort of betraying their class, their ethnicity. I don't know what they're betraying, but they are definitely misguided. And I was actually reading about this Marie Gluesenkamp Perez, who, before she was a co-star in Portlandia, she actually apparently went to Reed College and Warren Wilson College and was ripping off other people on shitty bags of weed. So that's also a negative testament. So, like, not only being a traitor to your class and ethnicity and the people, you are selling shitty bags of weed. And coming out to join Ted Cruz, of course, everybody saw that Ted Cruz went on vacation last week, which made us think that ice storm in Texas was going to be worse than we thought. Anytime Ted Cruz leaves the country, that's usually a sign it's a pretty bad storm. But also they had those tapes come out where Ted Cruz pretty much was telling Trump point blank that if he doesn't switch things around here, he's going to lose the Senate and the House and be impeached. And, of course, Trump's response was, fuck you, Ted. So you're going to see this as things are sort of, there seems to be a turning of the tide after another public execution of a citizen. You're going to see people like Ted Cruz start to distance themselves from Trump because they are weasels and cockroaches and trying to survive the political climate. Ted Cruz, of course, just like J.D. Vance, didn't like Trump at first and then quickly switched and jumped on board, and now they're going to try to survive post-Trump as well. And here comes Kristi Noem. Speaking of jumping ship, Kristi Noem certainly starting to take shape like you knew when Trump had his little batch of ignorant fascists in this second administration. You knew somebody was eventually going to have to take the fall as things got bad, and it's certainly looking to shape up like Kristi Noem is going to be the first of his viziers to take the knife in the back. Bovino got a 2 count there on Ted Cruz. Of course, Tom Homan was sent to Minnesota today, circumventing Kristi Noem and Bovino. I don't think we have Homan in here tonight. And we get a buzzer, and here comes Gavin Newsom, that California governor. Of course, he's got not much to do with what's going on in Minnesota. He did fly himself to that big Davos economic summit to troll Trump there. So Gavin Newsom, when he could have been here with the people, chose to go be with the economic elite of the world, and I think that's pretty fitting for Gavin Newsom. He's good at trolling Trump for the elite, and it makes me think if the Democrats don't wake up, which they probably won't, Newsom might get pushed as their candidate. And Hakeem Jeffries eliminates Marie Gluesenkamp Perez, so she did not make it further tonight. He whipped her out the thing tonight, so he did his job tonight at least. She is eliminated, not ready for the primetime discourse. Oh, man, here we go. Speak of the fascists. Here's that little troll Hitler himself, Stephen Miller. Of course, you know, and Hakeem Jeffries just submitted to Kristi Noem. Kristi Noem had him submit. Stephen Miller, of course, he is the Steve Bannon of the second presidency, Trump presidency, just as evil and devious as Bannon, except for he is younger and even more heartless. And Stephen Miller, whatever they say they're going to reel back in Minnesota, you just got to realize it's not going to happen because you have a demented president. Stephen Miller is right there in his right ear the whole time, and Stephen Miller hates minorities. I mean, that's basically what it comes down to. Well, we get a buzzer, and coming out to join this horrible, wretched, awful discourse. Who's it going to be? It's the police state. It is the police state. Important to remember, even though ICE or Border Patrol, whoever it was, federal agents executed a citizen in the streets the other day, important to remember the police state has been executing people all along as well. Don't think they're the good guys. Ted Cruz got pinned by Gavin Newsom, so Gavin Newsom eliminates Ted Cruz. Cruz is gone. So let's see. We've got Gregory Bovino is still out there, and Kristi Noem. That's an alliance. Gavin Newsom, Stephen Miller, and the police state. Stephen Miller just failed trying to pick up the police state. Bovino just dropped Newsom, but Newsom goes for a cover on Bovino. And that's it. Bovino is eliminated by Gavin Newsom as the 3%er comes out. So the 3%er is coming out. We the People tattoo on his forearm. Second Amendment nut. Of course, he's been the person who said he's going to be ready to answer the call when a tyrannical federal government oversteps its bounds on the American citizens, and they have not stepped up. All those 3%ers are not actually the 3% who answered the call, apparently. So I guess they'll be covering up those tattoos, perhaps. I don't know. Of course, it was never real. It was just a performative identity to feel like a big man. 3%er is just a weak, fragile piece of shit. Stephen Miller drops the 3%er on his head. And here comes Tim Walz, Minnesota governor. Reportedly had phone conversation with Trump today. And I imagine that was very shitty, trying to have to de-escalate when your president has pretty effectively occupied your capital, largest cities in your state. Like, Walz is already, and there's a pin, and Gavin Newsom appends Kristi Noem. He eliminates Kristi Noem as well, so he eliminated Bovino and Noem. But Tim Walz, of course, has to have a pleasant conversation, polite conversation with Donald Trump when the man has occupied his state. Walz, of course, dropped out of the governor's race, and actually one of the Republican candidates decided to drop out today as well. Stephen Miller is bloody in there. And we get a buzzer. Waiting to see who it is. It's Pam Bondi. Attorney General Pam Bondi. And of course, whatever Trump may have said to Walz has to be sort of taken with a grain of salt, as Trump just trying to cover his ass as the tides turn against him, because Bondi sent that letter, and the police state pins Tim Walz and eliminates him. Bondi sent that letter asking for the Minnesota voter registration rolls, which is a very strange request. I mean, that is an absolutely bizarre request for the federal government to be making of the state. And it's not actually bizarre. It's pretty obvious what's going on, but, you know, it's bizarre that they're stupid enough to do it openly. But there's a lot of things they're doing openly, like killing citizens. And we get a buzzer, and it is one of the ugliest men on earth, Elon Musk, the great big billionaire fool who has turned what was once a thriving social media network into a propaganda network. I guess you can't have a successful propaganda network unless you build up a good amount of people. In fact, if any of you are still on Twitter, I don't know why. You are willingly sucking in the propaganda. I just, again, condemn you for that. And the 3%er got knocked off that ladder by Gavin Newsom, and then he slips off the steps and can't get up. So he is eliminated. Bob, does Gavin Newsom get that pick? You're going to check the tape? Bob Dabalina, my producer. So the 3%er eliminated partially by ignorance, and then Gavin Newsom eliminated by Stephen Miller. But then the police state got tossed by Pam Bondi, I think it was. So the police state is out of here. And we have the Blue Sky Communist. Stephen Miller is on the... And he gets back in. He was on the border there. Pam Bondi doing a little dance. Blue Sky Communist got a chair. Elon Musk and Stephen Miller going at it. Of course, there may be a little bit of negative memories for them when they were tag teaming Stephen Miller's wife, Katie. I know that she left with Elon for a little while, but is now back with Stephen. And it'll be interesting years from now when all the sordid sexual escapades of these disgusting Trump insiders all gets told. That's going to be ugly. Could you imagine having sex with Stephen Miller and Elon Musk? Like, that really lowers your standing as a human being, I have to say. Anyways, the No Kings Liberal is coming out now. The No Kings Liberal, I talked to her earlier tonight, and she did not appreciate me calling her a shit lib. And, you know, I honestly don't. I ain't mad at her. So we're just going to call it the No Kings Liberal. I'm going to try to be nicer. I'm not going to call her the shit lib. So that's a little change I've done. Even I can learn, folks. Even dumbass Dirt God Raven Mac. So we got 5 folks in there. The Blue Sky Communists just dropped Elon Musk.
No King's Liberal just drops, and there's a Blue Sky Communist goes for the pin on 2 count of Stephen Miller, but then Stephen Miller kicks him out, and Blue Sky Communist eliminated there. It looked like the No King's Liberal took a shot as he was kicked out. And you hear the music. Here he comes, holding that FIFA Peace Prize, Donald Trump, one and only president, number 47. We'll see how long it is. We'll see whether death or impeachment makes way for number 48, J.D. Vance. Or resignation. I guess he could resign, but I don't really see Trump doing a Nixon. He's going to go down to the bitter end. Which, we don't hang people anymore, do we? And the No King's Liberal over the top rope by Elon Musk. They're out. How do they execute people for treason nowadays? It seems hard to believe they do. I guess it would be lethal injection, but that's dark. And here comes AOC. AOC, of course, always one of the first representatives out there to be saying the things you would expect all of them to be saying. Glad that after 4 years she's been there? 4 or 6 years. She hadn't completely lost her soul yet, but there is a good reason for term limits, and I would suggest that the best reason for term limits is how compromised your soul becomes so quickly. So AOC getting some shots on Stephen Miller, holding him. He's trying to hit her in the back of the head. Trump sort of staring off Bondi. Musk goes for an elbow drop. Those ring steps were in there, but then they got slid out. Bondi over the top rope, but not eliminated. She's back in. And we get a buzzer. Now here it is, the scourge of the woke mind virus, pronouns. Pronouns is back. Maybe that's what the 3%er was against, instead of, maybe that Second Amendment is for pronouns. They weren't actually concerned with federal agents committing tyranny. They were concerned with grammar they didn't understand. So pronouns, the most ominous of all grammatical things in the ring there. Stomping on Trump. Stephen Miller still in there. Like to see him get eliminated, because I especially hate that guy. Bondi stomping on pronouns. Trump with a back smash against AOC. And we have a buzzer, and coming to join the melee, the podcast grifter. Podcast grifter, of course. He switched pretty quickly. I don't even know if people listen to his podcast. Mostly it's his social media presence you see circulated. And of course, he changed his opinion about how someone shouldn't, Mr. Preddy, who was executed by the federal agent, should not have approached him or should not have had a gun, even though he was a legal, law-abiding carrier of a gun. So these podcast grifters, they just, I don't even know, is there a group chat, like a secret signal where they all get their talking points, or it trickled down? There's got to be some sort of hierarchy of dissemination of talking points, because those guys all switch pretty quickly. It's too quick to even be imitating each other, because it's always like completely lined up on point. Pronouns up in the corner, off with Pam Bondi. We get a buzzer, and coming out is Texas Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. She's coming out. And pronouns accidentally knocked off that top rope by podcast grifter. And then podcast grifter knocked over the top rope by Stephen Miller. And he goes up to the top, smashes Stephen Miller. But then Stephen Miller flips him. That podcast grifter is eliminated. So he's gone. Stephen Miller kind of hanging tough tonight, unfortunately, that little weasel. Little moment of stalemate there. Now Trump going for a pin on and kick out. I couldn't even see who it was. I think it was AOC, but I can't tell. There's so many people in there at once right now. Clarence Thomas with an ankle lock on Jasmine Crockett. What's going on there, Big Papa? And here comes J.D. Vance, man. J.D. Vance. And it's been really funny to watch J.D. Vance sort of do the trial run as pretend president. Trump almost pinned AOC there because Vance is just so bad at it. Like, he is just so unlikable and stupid. And that guy, man, once Trump either finally has a heart attack or is impeached, you got to assume Vance will be as well. But if he has any time as number 48, which that would be my bet, is he's going to be our 48th president one way or another. it's going to be comedically bad. Because that guy can't even be, evil smoothly. Just incompetent. What an incompetent bunch of dimwits. And really, that sort of shatters the whole meritocracy myth of America itself. The fact that such idiotic people are in all the positions of power. But here comes the immigrant. He's coming to join the melee. And there's a really slow count on AOC. Jamel Bowie is counting real slow. The immigrant is in, and Pam Bondi goes right after him. AOC with a suplex on Trump. So it looks like we've got 7 or 8 people in there right now. Bulldog on Miller by Bondi. Vance and Elon Musk going at it. Immigrant punching Bondi. There's a lot going on here, folks. And we get a buzzer, and coming out to join is Minority Ice Goon. That Minority Ice Goon. A lot of people talking about how could black and brown people be working for ICE? And of course, they have that $50,000 bonus, which is a scam, by the way. They break those bonuses up over the years. Minority Ice Goon with a pin on Stephen Miller, but he kicks out. They break it up over the course of years, and if you don't make it to the end of 5 years, it's just considered a loan, and you have to repay it. So a lot of these people are doing pretty dastardly dirt, hoping to get this bonus that they're going to end up having to pay back. So not only are they going to have the PTSD of betraying their fellow citizens and committing heinous war crimes on regular citizens, they're also going to owe money to the federal government that they did it for. That's pretty impressive. Stephen Miller kicks out at 2 on AOC. Well, and of course, right on the trail of the Minority Ice Goon is that regular Ice Goon. He's out here carrying a pipe. Trump with a pin on Vance. And Trump eliminates Vance. He eliminates his own vice president. I mean, that's not out of character for Trump. So it looks like we've got, well, there's a pin, Minority Ice Goon pinning Stephen Miller, but he kicks out. So we got Stephen Miller still in there, Pam Bondi, who is pinning Elon Musk, no. Elon Musk in there, Donald Trump, AOC, Jasmine Crockett, the immigrant, the Minority Ice Goon, and the Ice Goon. So a pair of Ice Goons in there. The immigrant with a roll-up on AOC. She kicks out. Crowded Discourse right now. Crockett going for the pin on Bondi as we get a buzzer. And it's that Antifa wine mom. Where's the whistle? And there's a pin, Donald Trump pinned by Elon Musk. And then Pam Bondi got pinned by somebody I didn't see exactly. I missed that one, Bob. And then Elon Musk pinned by the Ice Goon. So Bob Dabalini, you need to check the elimination on Pam Bondi. That Antifa wine mom came out, and then we had a string of eliminations back to back to back. Unfortunately, Stephen Miller was not one of them, and he's still out there. Both those Ice Goons are still out there. The immigrant is still out there. Antifa wine mom, AOC, and Jasmine Crockett. So 2 congresswomen and 2 Ice Goons. And make it 1 because one of the congresswomen, Jasmine Crockett, pinned that Minority Ice Goon. And here comes the New York Times op-ed writer. Jasmine Crockett got pinned by Stephen Miller. Well, this New York Times op-ed writers coming out, they started to switch their tone over the weekend. I guess there's a different group chat that the podcast grifters get that the op-ed writers get, probably a much more elite. It's not elite. They just went to higher schools. But they're starting to switch their tone. I even saw one where they actually decided to call it fascism finally. And I've seen some people say you shouldn't get mad at folks for coming around to agreeing with what you've been saying all this time. And on one hand, I say, yeah, that's true. You don't want to dismiss people who have been woken up to what's going on. But on the other hand, if you were an op-ed writer complicit in transphobia and allowing Trump to take power a second time, you need to answer for that. You don't get to be part of the revolution. You get to be banished and exiled. Ilhan Omar comes out, Minnesota Congresswoman. Actually saw her post that she said abolish ICE is the baseline, and I was glad to see an actual representative say that. Abolish ICE should be the baseline. Anybody who thinks ICE can't be abolished, please understand that ICE is barely old enough to vote, Like, it's a pretty young organization, and its whole purpose has been to terrorize people in the name of patriotism. Pretty much everything that got created with the Patriot Act after 9/11 is pretty fucked up. So don't think all this is new. They laid the groundwork for fascism a long time ago. Our last entrance, New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani. Of course, he is always on the front line of saying what you want to hear a politician say, and he's only the mayor of New York City, and that never really translates into something larger for the most part. Maybe governor of New York if you're lucky, but Zohran, it's very heartening to see a politician actually speak his principles instead of consulting with the consultant pundit class before he says what he says. Of course, Democrats are controlled by the consultant pundit class, so I wouldn't expect Zohran to... And there's a roll-up on the immigrant, Antifa Wamam, over the top rope. And there's some fighting over there, too. Now the immigrant's out on that top rope, and Antifa Wamam nails him and eliminates the immigrant. So, a little melee over there in the corner, and the immigrant eliminated by the Antifa Wamam. We've got 7 people left in here. There's Stephen Miller still out there. AOC, the Ice Queen, the Antifa Wine Mom, that New York Times op-ed writer, Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, and New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani. Of course, the final 4 will get bonus points. And, oh man, there was a 2 count. I thought Zohran did. And AOC just got tossed. So AOC was eliminated. I wasn't paying attention on that side of the ring. And Stephen Miller is busted wide open. Bob better double check that AOC elimination. Give it the right score. Stephen Miller is busted wide open. And we've got a pin, and there's a kick out. Stephen Miller's still surviving. That little cockroach. So we're down to 6. Ice Goon's got that hammer that Zohran Mamdani brought out, the hammer of socialism. Roll up by Ilhan Omar, only a 2 count. Zohran and Antifa Wamam teaming up on Stephen Miller. The Ice Goon going after Zohran. Ilhan Omar in a chokehold by the New York Times op-ed writer. Ice Goon taking off the top rope. Big suplex, only a 1 count for Zohran Mamdani. Roll up. Antifa Wamam kicks out at 1. Stephen Miller's a bloody mess out there. You love to see it. Can't wait to see that in real life. I'm sorry, what am I saying? This is real life. We're really in an abandoned concrete factory at the edge of town, really watching these politicians and people fight each other to be the champion of the discourse. It's as real as what you see on social media, folks. Pin there, Antifa Wamam is on Ilhan for a long time, but neither of the refs are. Clarence Thomas and Jamel Bowie sort of missing the count. Ice Goon down for the count. Nobody there to hold the pin. Zohran covers Stephen Miller, but he moves. And there's a pin, 1 count. Clarence Thomas just punched Stephen Miller for some reason. Referees get a little unruly in here sometimes. Antifa Wamam held up by the Ice Goon and dropped right on her head. She's holding that left shoulder. So we've got 6 folks left. Ilhan is on the Ice Goon. Zohran with a vicious punch to Stephen Miller's bloody face. Ice Goon with some shots to the Antifa Wamam's face. Probably not the first woman he's beaten. People into the ladder. Backflip by the Wine Mom. 1 count on the op-ed writer. The Ice Goon going for a pin there. And he's only a 2 count. Clarence Thomas mad at the Antifa Wine Mom now. And there's a pin on Ilhan Omar. Zohran Mamdani eliminates Ilhan Omar. So we are down to 5 now. Our final 5. With 1 more elimination, the final 4 will get those bonuses, of course. And those final 5 are Stephen Miller, the the Ice Goon, the Antifa Wine Mom, the New York Times op-ed writer, and Zoran Mamdani, who's getting pinned right now. That's 2, and that's he kicks out last second. Last second kick out by Zoran against the Antifa Wine Mom. Man, Stephen Miller has just been viciously brutalized out there. Ice Goon goes into the ladder. We've got 5 people left. We're here at the 31-minute mark, over the 31-minute mark. Bob, would it be inappropriate if I check out for a little while? This thing's going long. Nobody's listening. Nobody's watched this far, Bob. People watch like the first 5 minutes, fast forward to the end to see who won. That's it. Let me go eat my tuna casserole, man. Come on. Come on, Bob. Okay. Well, my producer, Bob Dabalina, has told me that I have to pretend that someone is listening and continue to do commentary, even though I am pretty bored with the discourse. Reset the field. It's the same fight. Well, there's a pin on the New York Times op-ed writer by Antifa Wymom, and he's out of here. The New York Times op-ed writer is gone. We are down to 4. And Antifa Wymom she kicks out at 2. It looked like she was going to get eliminated by Zoran. So we have the forces of good, Zoran Mamdani and the Antifa Wymom, and the forces of evil, Stephen Miller and the Ice Goon. I kind of wondered what Jamel Bowie's allegiances would be with that New York Times op-ed writer, but he got eliminated, and Clarence Thomas made the count. I wonder if Jamel Bowie would have made such a equal count. We've got dual pin attempts. Zoran rolled up by the Ice Goon. Jamel slow for the count, only a 1 count. Of course, whoever gets eliminated next will get 3 bonus points as well. Sorry. Zoran eliminates Stephen Miller. I was trying to sneak some bites in my tuna casserole there. So, yes, Bob, you caught me, buddy. Yeah. Bob is in my earpiece saying there's a count, and I didn't make the count. But Zoran eliminates Stephen Miller, so our final 3 are the Ice Goon, that Antifa Wine Mom, and Zoran Mamdani. I would like to see them team. Well, they're going at each other now. The Ice Goon flips at Antifa Wine Mom. Stephen Miller staggering outside the ring. Ice Goon takes down the Antifa Wine Mom and beating her in the face. That's not your wife, Ice Goon. She's giving it back, though. Zoran could step in if he wants, but he seems to be gathering himself, trying to rally the crowd. There he goes. He's going after the Ice Goon. The Ice Goon locks up with Zoran, gets him up for a suplex. No, a face buster. And Antifa Wymom going for the pin. He kicks out last second. And Antifa Wymom has picked up that hammer of socialism, and it's been dropped again. The tough thing about the discourse is people who should be allies end up attacking each other. And Clarence Thomas and Jamel Bowie just stumble into each other. Zoran now suplexing the Antifa Wine Mom. He's got that hammer. The hammer of socialism. He locks up the Ice Goon, drops him back. Hit him with the hammer, Zoran. Well, he nails Antifa Wine Mom with it, unfortunately. But now he's beating on the Ice Goon with that hammer. There you go, Zoran. Bust him up, Zoran. But now there's a test of strength between the Antifa Wine Mom and Zoran Mamdani. And he headbutts her. Ice Goon with the flip. Bulldog. So these are your final three. We are still going 36 minutes into this thing, and there's a pin on Antifa Wymom. She kicks out at 2 9/10. This thing is going on for a while. Backslide on the Ice Goon while holding the hammer of socialism, only a 1 count. Now the Ice Goon briefly had that hammer. Roll up by Mom Donnie, only a 1 count. Antifa Wymom has a lead pipe in her hand, and she backslide on Mom Donnie. That's 1. That's 2. And he kicks out again. 2.5. These three just can't settle the score here. Those bonus points count for a lot. Whoever comes in third will get 5. Second will get 7 points. And whoever wins will get 10 bonus points. So those bonus points go a long way towards determining your order in that final week. Of course, this is week 4, 7-week series. First 6 weeks, folks accumulating points. You got to figure of getting the bonus points that we will see all 3 of these folks in our finale in week 7. Of course, the more points they have, the later in the order they'll come out, which gives them a better chance of winning the discourse. Zoran was the last man out tonight. But you never know, because Ice Goon, I think he was kind of middle of the pack, and he's still out here. Three of them still going at it. Nobody really taking the initiative to finish this thing. Coming up on 39 minutes. Antifa Wymom with a nice punch to the Ice Goon, and then a kick by Zoran. And he kicks her in the back. And now he's twisting that ankle. Oh man, he's really turning that ankle ugly. That is not gotta feel good. That is looking pretty bad from over here. Oh, and there's no way for her to get out of it. Yeah, she gives it up to Antifa Wymom, taps out. Zoran must have had some judo training at some point in his life, because he was really putting a twist to that. So it's our final 2, the Ice Goon and Zoran Mamdani. Really pulling for Zoran here, even though he eliminated that Antifa Wymom. I really wanted to see her get to the end. Nice spin kick there by Zoran, kicked by the Ice Goon back. That hammer of socialism currently in Clarence Thomas's hand, and Jamel Bowie takes it from him in disgust. Leg drop on the Ice Goon. Zoran's got that hammer. He's got the hammer of socialism. Clarence Thomas takes back. Zoran takes it back. And then he drops it. Punch to the face. Tried to lock up. No luck. Holding him up. Another face buster, or will he suplex him this time? He went ahead and suplexed him right on his head. And that should be it. That's 1. That's 2. That's only 2. Zoran kicks out. I thought that was it for sure. We're at the 41-minute mark, folks. This thing is going on and on to the break of dawn. Oh, my Lord. Please don't actually go to the break of dawn. For your information, it's pretty damn cold where I'm at. That Arctic air has blown in, and it is pretty damn cold. And my house is going to be cold when I get there, and it's only going to get so warm. I would like to go ahead and get home, get into flannel pajamas, and get under about eight layers of quilts. So the quicker they can finish this thing up, the better, because it's going to be all sorts of talking on the way out. I'm going to be talking to Catbird, which is cool. I enjoy that. And the other fans that are here at our abandoned concrete factory at the edge of town. And that Marie Glusenkamp Perez is here. I'll probably, I'm not going to lie, I might try to sweet talk her, even though I don't agree with her politics. For some reason, that sort of Whole Foods smelling like the homeopathy aisle women, they still call to me for some reason. I think it's my class loathing of being a poor kid. Ice Goon looking a little bloody. Still got those beer glasses. Zoran with the pin. Let this be it. Just a 1. And And he flips Zoran. There's a count. That's just a 1. Clarence Thomas climbing that meritocracy ladder and knocked off as they hit it. Punch to the face. Zoran rides him down as Ice Goon flips him over with a shot. They're both staggering. Jamel Bowie got that ladder and sets it back up. Both men are the worst for wear and staggering. We don't let the Ice Goon carry his weapons in the ring. Normally he probably would have just shot Zoran by now. Zoran drops that Ice Goon. Go in for the pin, Zoran. I feel like I did this last week with the Blue Sky Communists. I'm like wishing him on to a victory, trying to have somebody finish it. They can't even suplex each other. We're getting close to 44 minutes. 44 minutes. Oh, my goodness. This is painfully long. Can't fast forward real life, folks. And this is real. This is a real abandoned concrete factory at the edge of a real town. I'm really Dirt God Raven Mac. Sorry, Bob. Bob Doblina, my producer, in my ear telling me to maybe tone down the cynicism a little bit. I'm not a cynicist. I'm a nihilist. That's not true either. I have a lot of hope. Been good to see what's going on in Minnesota. I hear people getting ready in other places for such things. You know, you like to think fascism can't win, and I don't think it can, obviously, but you can't just go back to status quo. And there goes a pin, only a 1 count. You can't just go back to pretending that the two-party system we have is actually accomplishing anything, because it led us to this over the last 30 years. There's a pin. Oh, Zoran still kicks out at 2.5. You know, you can look at the roots of this. Oh, there's a pin on the Ice Goon, still just a 2 count. You can look at the roots of this with after 911 and the Patriot Act. You can look at the roots of this with the Clinton era in the 90s. You can look at it with the Reagan era in the 80s. Trump is just a uncaring, heartless bastard who's just taken all the cards that have been laid out for him before and has decided to play them all instead of save them for some future day that was never going to come. Somebody had to eventually do this. Somebody was eventually going to have federal death squads roaming the streets. Zoran rolls up the Ice Goon. There's a 1, only a 1. 46 minutes in, folks. We are 46 minutes in. Bob, if this goes to an hour, can we just call it a draw? Time limit draw? I mean, that's still 14 minutes away. No time limit? We can't have a draw? Don't we have a curfew? Don't we have to get out of here? Well, you might not have to get out of here, but I have to get out of here, Bob. Nobody pays me for this, Bob. Yes, Catbird sponsored it, but nobody pays me. Nobody's listening. I'm talking to myself and the robots. Hello, robots that trawl YouTube. How are you today? Zero one one zero 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 1010. That was for all my robots out there. The Ice Goon dives off that ladder onto Zoran, but then Zoran gets up and kicks him in the back of the head, stomping him in the back, punches him in the face. Big suplex right on the road, but it's a face buster. Zoran holding that knee. Backflip by the Ice Goon. Stomp. Another flip. Punch by Zoran. Knocks the Ice Goon down. They're still going at it. Kick by the Ice Goon. He loves flipping, doesn't he? And Ice Goon drops Zoran on his face again. That's 3 times I've seen him do that move on Zoran. There's a pin. That could be it. That's 2, and Zoran still kicks out, man. Oh, he just stomps him in the head, but then he grabs his shoulder afterwards. I feel like if he could have pinned him right there, that might have been it. Then he catches a kick to the back. He's still favoring that shoulder. Finally goes for the cover. Only a 1 count. slam and a stomp. Ice Goon moving that ladder. That meritocracy myth ladder. Now they lock up and he flips him. Back and forth. Struggling for control. Zoran kicks the Ice Goon again. And he's hurt. Zoran trying to rally the crowd, but the crowd's kind of burned out. We're almost at 50 minutes here. And it's cold in here. And he flips Zoran for the pin. That's a 1, and that's only a 1. He's over the top rope, and he's out. Zoran is out. Just like that, the Ice Goon wins it. Oh, man. Zoran trying to regain composure on the outside. The Ice Goon has won this thing, and he is... Oh, man. Let's look at this replay. You can see he has Zoran rolled up, and as he has him rolled up, he kicks out, and then in the kick out, Zoran goes over the top rope and is eliminated, and the Ice Goon has won the Discourse this week. Oh, my goodness. I mean, it makes sense. The tide is turning, and it's good to see what people are doing, but the Ice Goon does still control the Discourse tonight. You can see him at the top with 12. Zoran Momdani there with 10. Antifa Wine Mom with 8. Shout out to her. Stephen Miller with 7. Man, that little evil, demented troll demon went way too far. Gavin Newsom with 4. Eliminated 4 people. Sounds like the pundits must have had a hand in that one. Elon Musk got 2 points. You can see everybody who got 1 point there as well, a whole slew of people. Our standings now after 4 of 7 events at Mar-a-Lago. Guessing Zoran has climbed to tie the leaderboard, atop the leaderboard with the Mar-a-Lago guest. That Ice Goon in second with 17. Ugh. Marco Rubio with 14. The Free Thinker and Antifa Wine Mom with 13. Stephen Miller now with 11. Donald Trump with 10. Luigi, the Blue Sky Commie, and an op-ed writer there with 8. Deeper in our results, you can see the Immigrant Reply Guy, Gavin Newsom, all has 7. Bernie Sanders with 5. You can see a couple, No Kings Liberal and Alpha Male Influencer. That's quite a tandem. They have 4. Jasmine Crockett, J.D. Vance, and Tim Walls, and a bunch of others mixed in at the 2 and 1 point range. And, of course, next week we will have week 5. And then following week 6, all these people who have not yet qualified for the finale, who have like 1 to 5 points, we're going to see all of them come out to try to seal the trip to the final. And as always, folks, this is supported by my Southern Gothic Futurist Patreon. You don't know what a Patreon is? Patreon is where you pledge support on a monthly basis to weird-ass artists like me. You help me sow Southern Gothic Futurism upon the earth. And this is part of what I do for that, amongst a lot of other things. So consider clicking the link in the description. Sign up for that bad boy. I guess you can subscribe to my page too, my YouTube page, but I don't really like to say that because that seems corny. And you can be a free follower of my Patreon as well. I send posts out for free as well. Let's be honest, we're about 50 minutes into this thing. Nobody is still here. I'm talking to myself. If you are still listening, you probably already support my Southern Gothic Futurism Patreon, or you're part of Catbird Enterprises. If you are, I want to say shout out to you, and I appreciate you, each and every one of you who made it to the very end of this thing. Unless you fast forwarded and only watching the end after skipping over a big chunk of the middle. And if that is the case, I hereby curse you. You are cursed by the magical wizard spells of Dirt God. And the next week is going to be horrible for you. And that's what you get. Anyways, until next week, salam.